All right. Should be live. Just doing testing. Good old mic check. Making sure it's all here. Going live. Let me just make sure it's live actually. All right. Should be live. All right, cool. We're all good to go. So I'm gonna let people join in here, and because I'm going live a bit earlier than 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I kept changing the live stream, like bumping it back like 15 minutes throughout the morning, and just because I was getting like, oh, I want to talk about this, and I want to go live before other sites are live, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this slate here, and I'm sure we could talk about yesterday's as there'll be comments and stuff about it, but today's slate is super interesting. And looking back at other slates, I haven't seen anything that I can personally like relate it to, and I'll explain. I mean, this is going to be a really fun show, at least for me, because I love just like diving into this stuff. Like this slate is so attractive to just, I mean, dive into it and look at everything. Um, and thank you, BVP. Uh, got lucky, um, that everything panned out that way. But that is the third plate race that I've actually taken down and finished up top on, not even including other ones that I did well on. Like it's pretty nuts. I guess I'll just kill time here since people are joining in. Let me go ahead and stream this and get it over with. Let's put this screen over here. So for those of you that aren't aware, I did end up taking down all the contests yesterday. That I entered, and I just don't have it in me to post screenshots on Twitter. I'm just not one of those guys. I'll have to have Rody or something do it. I'm very bad at actually promoting that stuff on Twitter. And actually, the thing that shocked me the most was the drastic difference between first and second here. And now, yet again, when we're approaching these races, or how I do it, and I say in all the videos, I mean, we have 96 slates a year for NASCAR. My goal is to win one of those, and that makes it a successful year. I've been able to do that now for 4 years in a row. This is the first one I've taken down this year, and sometimes it's 2 to 3, other times it's just one a season. But I've done my goal. My goal to win one each year has been done. And when we look at these races, when we look at the 9 or so plate races, yet again, I lean in towards the fork in the road. Like when we approach plate races, there's a fork in the road, and then there's a fork in the road for each decision that happens past that. The main one is if the race is going to be a wreck fest or if it's not going to be a wreck fest. If it's not going to be a wreck fest, the fork in the road on that lane is, does it stay green the entire time, or do they actually, I guess there's 3. Does it stay green the entire time? Do they wreck on the white flag, which is close to being green because it doesn't change anything? If your lap's down or whatever, you can't pass anybody. Or is it ending under like rain or darkness or whatever? Like it's a race that doesn't play out. Okay, so if a race goes that direction, I have no chance. I have no chance in hell. The other side of that is if it's a wreck fest, the other fork in the road there is who is wrecking. Is it guys up front or is it guys in the back? If it's guys in the back, I also don't do anything. I specifically build for the wreck fest of not guys in the back being involved in wrecks. So if you look at all of the options in those 2 lanes, and you just break them down evenly, each outcome is about a 25% outcome if you just look at it in 4 different directions. The rainouts are slightly smaller, but when we look at those 4, it's very much 25, 25, 25, 25. And then not only is it a 25 chance of these guys actually wrecking and wrecking up front, it's then also constructing the correct lineups for that tiniest of outcomes. And so in that 25% outcome of people wrecking up front, I then have to go through and build lineups specifically for that situation. And so like for me, whenever I do the these plate race lineups, like I hand build everything, and it takes me like hours to do. Like I'm not even done with the Cup Series stuff for today. But I, like yesterday, it probably took me like three hours or so debating, thinking how the race is going to go through. Like that's a huge time commitment for me on these races. I've always just done that, and as I said, I when it works out as it did yesterday, it makes up for it. Like you could just burn, the races, or you're okay with the races going green or whatever. Like they don't work out as long as at least for me, I've always been able to score extremely well when that happens. I've done this 3 times now, and certainly other times that, um, I haven't taken it down but still scored well. It was even crazy because I went ahead and threw the live show from yesterday into the playlist that I'm, talking about here, and I need to update the description because this had 2 9,000 plus wins in this between these 2 shows. Now I got the 24 from yesterday. I mean, dude, this playlist has close to like $42,000 in winnings in and of itself, and, like, I'm actually really, really proud of that from an analytical standpoint, probably more than anything. Um, like I said, I'm killing time, while people join and everything. Um, the last thing, I guess I'll show what I did yesterday, as I do in as I said, and I'll go ahead and post this in the chat or at least in the comments, post live stream, but this playlist is my entire approach. Uh, and still nobody's been able to like I'm not duplicated at all. Also, shout out to actually we'll just bring up the actual thing. Hold on. Because I don't have so actually shout out to me, Sterling. Um, I just went blank. He's in the Discord. My 84 Dolphins is in the Discord. Um, Sterling again, ACS in Discord, Sterling, me. I think Sterling had like 17 or something lines in the top 100. Um, a lot of guys yesterday did extremely well. Of the people who followed me, the reason I'm bringing that up is because usually I go through Discord stuff to try and get a feel of where everybody's coming in at on ownership, like for a race like today. And I saw somebody who um, and maybe I did a poor job at talking about it or explaining it, but he was kind of mad at me because I was basically saying like, yeah, I'm probably going to fade um, Jeb Burton, and I feel like this is very much a fade based on what the field was doing. Same thing with Haley Deegan. Like I had very little Haley Deegan, but I kind of felt bad from like a content creator standpoint that somebody felt like I either lied to them or wasn't truthful. Especially when I was like talking through the lines that I had yesterday. I felt like yesterday's show was phenomenal. But like that's the type of criticism that I typically do listen to and try and get better at, whatever the case may be. Like this is how I built yesterday. You can very easy like you can very much see like everything we talked about yesterday I was very happy with, where we identified where the ownership was going. We identified where we wanted to be underweight on, where we wanted to build, and same thing uh, I'm going to do today. And this is the one that ended up taking it down. Let me see what you guys are saying before we continue on. What's going on? Eagles. I don't know if anybody dies today. Sadly, I'm hoping they actually. I don't see why they wouldn't get the full race in today. Um, yeah, Sterling, you came close, man. That was really close. Thank you, Noah. Um, Thank you, Sons. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen you, Sons. Thank you, Vinny. What's going on, Dale? So, like, when we look at the race today, okay, as I said, this race, from my point of view, isn't necessary. And I'm going to kind of reiterate some notes that I said in the Discord, which is where I spend a lot of my time in now. Also, for those of you that don't know, just to like uh, get that out there, because I've told some people, but like some people just think I'm here for NASCAR content. Like I'm full time with TrueDFS. I do a lot of things behind the scenes. I have a small percentage of the company. Like I'm here full time. Like, and so I spend a lot of my time in the Discord, and that's typically where I'm either answering questions or people are DMing me. Especially if you're a subscriber to our stuff, like I'm going to spend a lot of time talking to you, and that's why I don't really spend much time just posting things on Twitter versus or outside of like, hey, I'm live and et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that I did right earlier this morning, because I've been up since like 4, post like the F1 race. And so this is where I'm at here. I think this is a very tough slate. Depending on how this race goes, I think the optimal is played. also before I get there, like I understand this is very much stacked on the back, but like I really do love these slates from building perspective, from analyzing where people are going to go. Like I can talk about this for hours and not have it be just stacked from the back or giving you like stupid ass plays that are up here. Like I love these slates so much. They are so much fun for me. Um, the thing, so first and foremost, BJ McLeod has come out and said that he wants to race. Now, if we look back at how he was in the heats, because he in the duels, because he had to make the 500, he was up there racing the whole time and stuff. And that's a the duel. So I wouldn't necessarily expect him to just randomly go out there like on lap 12 and be like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going from 37 to 17th." But still, that's a not even a downgrade. But BJ McLeod has been such a core play for me over the years because he has ran in the back all day and he does very well through attrition. And I like the fact that he went out and said that he wants to race top 10 today. I'm looking at it like he's much more inclined to do that last 40 laps versus just right out the gun. But I think that is something to note for specifically the people who play like I do and focus on BJ McLeod and Cody Ware and people like that. Like BJ is very much out there being like, if we destroy the car, we'll just buy another one. It doesn't matter. Like he's an open car. He's literally just here to go out and to try and win the race. Like that is something to note. Anyway, as I kind of go through what I was looking at, I think it's very, very hard for the optimal to not come from 20th on back today. And the reason being is there are 18 cars from 20th to 38. 10 of them should carry realistic ownership, and that's because they are some of the best plate racers in DFS and in NASCAR. I mean, 5 are like the best plate racers. Like when we're looking specifically at 21st through 38, and I've kind of highlighted some of them, like Blaney's good. I mean, I'm not going to go into statistics of why they're not. Like, we're not here for that. We're focusing on like game theory and stuff like that. But Blaney, Keselowski, Hamlin, LaJoy, who has been the greatest DFS plate racer of all time. He's been optimal like since the book of Genesis. Stenhouse and Kyle Larson. Like these guys are all going to carry ownership, and they all have a chance to like truly work out. And I think you have to eat at least 2, if not 3 spots in your lineup with chalk. And the reason being, and what I'm mainly trying to figure out is where to personally come in on Larson, Stenhouse, Chastain, and LaJoy. I think a full fade on Larson is risky. I mean, obviously, like, duh. But what I mean is, I don't think it makes sense to like full fade Larson. Normally, you fade the chalk at these races because like the percentage, like that ownership is centered around 1 or 2 or 3 plays. Like or those drivers, like yesterday it was Jeb, Anderson, fucking who else? Just it was Earnhardt as well. So like those are the 3 guys, and everybody around them were very much low owned. Like yesterday was a great example of typically how it plays out. Whereas today, like normally you fade the chalk because it's a case of like you pivoting to a low own play, like driver B, C, D off of the chalk A driver. Like you can get like leverage off of him. Like it makes sense, like because those guys head to head, like Larson head to head between BJ, Noah, and Carson. Like you could realistically see like Hocevar, Gregson, BJ either scoring the same or more than Larson. Whereas today, like, yeah, sure, Larson's starting last, but like you have Larson, Stenhouse, Chastain, Hamlin, Brad, and Blaney, who are all going to race in the top 14 today. Like these are all drivers who want to be up front in the race. If you throw LaJoy into that as well, because LaJoy has shown us over recent years that he wants to run up front. And we typically see him running, anywhere from like 8th to like 14th, if not higher up in the race. Okay. And so, yeah, like these guys are chalk plays, but they're also like all plays and all drivers who want to be up front in this race. So like the case of fading Larson straight up doesn't make sense today because like, okay, yeah, sure, you fade him, but you also have 5 other like good chalk plays who like could just beat him straight up anyway. or Larson could beat straight. Like it's not like Larson or nothing. It's not like Chastain or Stenhouse or nothing. It's not LaJoy or nothing. Like I don't really believe, and I don't think I'm gonna do a full fade on any of these drivers. I think it then comes into play of, as I've talked about in these races, if we look at every single driver and the amount of DNFs that we have, not looking at a driver's own specific survival percentage of like running at the end of the races, because like Blaney does that pretty well. Hamlin has been incredible at finishing races and stuff. Like, of course, they're going to have like a very high survival rate in these races. We're not looking at that stat for each specific driver. We're looking at the entire field. Yet again, that fork in the road of building for, if it's going green, if it's a wreck fest, I'm building for a wreck fest. And so when you're looking at that and you see the field and you see each driver having about a 65 to 70% chance of being involved in a wreck, okay, that means 30% of the time they don't get involved in a wreck. And specifically when you're looking at Larson or anybody back here and that falls in that 30 range, they're going to be optimal. They're going to work. And so like with Larson, it's not a case of do you fade him? I just think you cap your own personal ownership. And what I'm going to do is cap my own ownership at 30% for Larson. I don't want any more than that. I can make enough I can make my Larson lineups beat solo. I'm not concerned about having duplicated lineups at all. I've never been concerned about that. In any of these races. Like even in the Millie Maker, I've had several solo lines. I've never been concerned about having duplicated lineups. My only concern with Larson is to not have over 30 on Larson. I don't want over 30 on LaJoy. I don't want over 30 on Stenhouse. And that's going to come under the field. Now, I'm going to regret it if Larson comes in at like 65% ownership. Then I'm just going to like fucking like be totally, I'm going to be incredibly like shocked and pissed off at anybody because he shouldn't be at 65. Like Larson's survival chance in this race is like 30-35%. That's what you should own him at. It shouldn't be any more than that. Like his ownership should not pass like 40 realistically, or like 35. Like anything more than that is just dumb. Like that's so stupid. But like that's my take on Larson. Same thing with Stenhouse, same thing with LaJoy, same thing with Chastain. And Chastain is even more appealing to me out of all four of these guys back here because he has done so piss poor. He has done so horrible at these races. Like when we're looking at how Chastain has finished in these events. Let me see. Let's see. Waiting for scoring. Like when you look at Chastain's, and this is very much where people, and the main thing that I look at here when trying to debate ownership and figure out where it's going to come in the back is either A, how good the car is, what the name is, and everything attached to that, and they're finishing in these races. So like when you look at like Chastain, who has typically been a guy who is either going to finish, like ninth, and then even in races that aren't like green flags and stuff like that, like Chastain is finishing like right at like 18 to 23, even in races to where there aren't attrition. And so like Chastain is the most risky, or maybe not the most riskiest, but like the guy who I think is the riskiest play out of LaJoy, Stenhouse, and Larson. And so like when I'm looking at lineups like Chastain, I think he's truly the fourth highest owned guy back here. It should go Larson, LaJoy, Stenhouse, Chastain. I just don't see why people would play Chastain more over Stenhouse when they're trying to figure out where ownership is going to come from. And the reason, so like also because we're focusing so much on here, we're not even including anybody up here. People are going to play Bubba Wallace. I don't even care. I don't even understand why in a race like this, based on projections, like not even just based on where they should be. Like when we're looking at where people should finish here, and you rank them by like how they should run, very similar to what we did yesterday, and we like, hey, lined up with the ownership. I'm more proud about that than anything. The approach, like the results, they're going to be good, they're going to be bad. I'm very, very, very happy with how my process has been. Like when we're at ceiling, when we're looking at where people should be at, like these guys are chalk because they're going to be top 10 guys. Like LaJoy has a real chance of being like just a straight up top 15 driver if it stays green. Rex Chastain, he wants to run up front. He's been involved in a lot of issues up front, but that's where he's going to run. Same thing with Sent. Like this is very much in line of where these guys should be running and stuff. Larson, I mean, he's been involved in a lot of wrecks, but the Hendrick brothers gang, the Hendrick brothers, the Hendrick group, they want to be up front. And I mean, also we haven't even talked about like how teams, or we haven't even talked about the other guys in white here. I'm just like talking through my entire like thought process, and I'm just like word vomiting out there, but just so everybody can see where I'm coming from and stuff. And so like we understand where the chalk should be, and with how many people are back here, I don't think it's bad chalk. I really don't. And this is coming from the person who is usually fading the biggest name in the back. I just think with these 3 guys and really these 4 guys back here, I just personally I'm not on board of fading Larson. That's my probably my hot take for today, truly based on how I approach stuff. Past that, who do I like? Who am I going to be overweight on? It's literally all the guys in white here. Straight up, love Noah Gragson, love Zane Smith, love Barry, love Cody Ware, love McLeod, love Jones, love Haley, love Briscoe. Like these are going to be the guys that I'm clearly overweight on. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is going to be my main lineups are going to be in, or my main like builds are going to be including these fellow drivers here, and then combined with 1 or 2 of these chalk plays. I just think that's how you approach it. I truly think the optimal lineup comes from 21st on back. I just don't foresee a reason why you'd even play somebody up here. I just don't get it. And the reason I'm bringing that up is even based on projections. We went over the contest sims. We went over Saber Sim yesterday and the faults that it has and the complaints I have for NASCAR. For other sports, I truly do love it, but it does have quite a lot of issues, in my opinion, on the NASCAR side. But with that said, it's very good for other sports. And that's my main critique with it really fast. I'm sorry I'm ranting about SaberSim again, but I feel like the NASCAR was built and based on the foundation of another sport. I don't know what it is, and I haven't been able to figure it out, but they did not build the NASCAR stuff from scratch. It is built off of something else they use for another sport. That's why it's good for other sports and lacks for NASCAR. But today's an example based on where people should finish and should be running. And again, this is based on just no crashes, just where you should be running. It's going to give a lot of good lineups today, regardless if it's contest sims, regardless if it's based on projections, because all the guys in the back are going to project well. Okay. And that's just Saber Sim. That's not Run the Sims or ETR or Fantasy Cruncher or whatever other thing you use. I think today is going to be very, I think that, like I said, I think the album gets played. I think that's very, very likely. Let's check what you guys are saying, and then we can talk about teams and builds and combinations and things of that nature, and so on and so forth. 91 of you guys here on the Sunday morning, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. Let's see. Let me check up. Let me get up through the chat. Give me a second. Yeah, Sterling, I was there. We did all right. It sucked that fucking Stroll just ran into Ricardo. Where are we at here? We got pretty close today, and I made money on F1 as well. But Stroll ran into Ricardo, really screwed a lot of things over. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, man. I've just been good on these. I've just been good on these plate races, man. It's crazy. It is insane. Oh no, I didn't share my screen. At least I read it now. So I gotta go back. So like yesterday, sorry, I didn't share my screen. I got excited and just started raining. So like these are the plays that I did yesterday. This is the lineup that won. If you didn't see, I took down all the contests yesterday. Kind of just going over through because I wasn't sharing. The screen, 16 points. That's a pretty big gap. and everything like that. Um, and I was highlighting, at least over here, where all the ownership should be and explaining where they're highlighted and where they should finish and everything like that. Since I wasn't sharing the screen, I apologize for that. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. Like with the stripper stuff, I've had more fun in strip clubs by like cucking like other dudes in there. Like straight up, it's probably just says more about me than anything else. I've had way more fun. Like if some dude is there, like in front of the dance or the table or whatever, and he's throwing down like singles and stuff, and he has like $11 on it. There's nothing more fun than like dropping a 50 like right beside him and just completely drawing her attention off him. Like I don't even care about the dance. Like I don't want to dance. I don't want any. I just like seeing him get pissed off. Like that's more fun for me than anything. Um, let's see, Chastain Stenhouse all. So the Chastain Stenhouse, yet again, like I so in the Cup Series specifically, I like really aggressive guys. Specifically when they start back here, like I've always played Stenhouse. I've always enjoyed playing the guys who are going to be aggressive in the back. Like Stenhouse, yeah, sure, he's going to win or wreck the field. Yet again, same thing with other people. I know for a fact if Stenhouse doesn't wreck, he's going to finish like fourth. Like, whereas you go with like Zane Smith, if he wrecks, he wrecks. If he doesn't wreck, where is he going to fit? Like, he's going to be like 12th, 13th and stuff. So, like, I would much rather lean into that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think he's bad chalk. Same thing with Larson. Like, he could very easily just finish eighth today, not doing anything. Hell, I mean, the fucking guy's optimal at like 16th, 15th. Like, that's I'm not very concerned about how aggressive somebody is. And typically, if you cause the wreck, you aren't involved in it in these cars. Like that is a huge bonus for aggressive guys here. Um, let's see what else. So Hocevar isn't chalk. Like why would he be chalk? And so let's kind of talk about the next aspect of how I'm building and how I'm preparing stuff and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when I'm looking at where the teams are back here, I think we're going to see a lot of correlation in why, like, Blaney wants to be up front, Brad wants to be up front, Hamill wants to be up front. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, going to be very popular plays, going to be top 10 drivers. Like, all those guys want to go up there, and they're most likely going to follow each other up there. When we look at the Rick Ware cars, even with Haley now being in this car, the Rick Ware cars have usually always ran together. Okay? When you're looking at Hocevar, Zane Smith, LaJoy, real chance that these three guys run together no matter where they go. So they're all very much correlated with each other. The thing that scares me with that is, like, as I said, LaJoy has gone very much from running the back all day to he wants to be up front. So does he drag Zane and Hocevar with him? I typically prefer when Zane Smith and Hocevar ride, but if they're with, you know, the Spire crew and LaJoy wants to go up there, he's going to carry both LaJoy and Hocevar with him. When you look at Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe in the back of the field, they're going to run together. They're going to stay together through pit stops, through charging up the field. It's going to be very rare for these guys to go off on their own, whether be in the back or go forward. Same thing. Like, I'm not playing Bubba Wallace, I'm not playing Tyler Reddick. We're not playing these guys. But, like, if Hamlin gets to Bubba, once those guys are together, like, Bubba and Hamlin are correlated. They're going to be working and be right around each other. And so, like, also when you're building, that's why, like, I don't think it's bad chalk with Larson, because, like, he'll I can very easily see him if LaJoy wants to go up front, he's taking Zane, Hocevar, and Larson with him. You know, if Gregson's going up front, the Ford Brigade is going to go up there. Corey LaJoy, or not Corey LaJoy, Justin Haley, Cody Ware, like, these guys are going to go up there. BJ's independent, he's on open team. He's got like, he's a Chevy. Like, this is very much like, especially when it comes down to a situation like this, he's going to be with the Chevy Brigade through all their dumb strategies. So, like, Chevy, or like McLeod, Hocevar, Chastain, Stenhouse, like, the Chevys are going to work together. And so, like, when you're building here, like, yet again, the names don't matter, positions don't matter, but, like, those are the things I'm very much taking into account in. So, like, yet again, you don't have to Like, you can make very, very viable lineups by playing a lot of the chalk plays. You play Larson, you play Gregson, you play Barry, Stenhouse, LaJoy, finish that however you want. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's how a lot of my lines are going to go. So it's not about, do I fade Larson? Do I not fade Larson? If I cap his ownership or my own personal ownership at 30, like, I think I still got lines that are going to be just fine. Um, Especially if you're just using from 20th on back, like, where are these guys going to be lining up? Like, we're very much going to have Nemechek, Eric Jones be correlated together. You know, I mean, all the Fords, like, you can do so many good lineups just from 21st to 38th. Um, and yeah, like, that's how I want to approach it. I don't know. I really like this slate because I think a lot of lines are gonna be a lot of the guys in yellow here and not having, like, one-offs. Like, Eric Jones makes it awesome. I think Eric Jones, like, my favorite plays today are these 4 guys here, from Haley to Zane Smith. I love those guys, man. I mean, that is, like, where I want to be building with. Like, that makes so much sense. Um I'm not using anybody from the top 19 Eagles. There's absolutely no reason to even do that. As I said, I think the optimal comes from 20th on back. Even if it goes green, like, this isn't even a wreck fest. If this race goes green all day, these idiots right in line, or like, oh, they're in pack races because they got to save fuel, like, ooh, whatever. Like, they're just riding shit out, saving fuel, whatever. Who is up front in these races? It's Blaney, Kozlowski, Hamlin, Suarez, and Chastain. I haven't even mentioned the fucking Trackhouse idiots. Suarez and Chastain gonna be together. They want to be up front. Stenhouse wants to be up front. Larson wants to be with the Hendrick guys. Where are the Hendrick guys? They're gonna be in the top 20. Like, the guys highlighted in yellow are fighting to be optimal in all situations of this race. That's why there is, like, no reason to play anybody in the top 15 for sure. I would not do it, but I don't blame you if you want to play Reddick or Nemechek or whatever. But, like, I just don't see how the optimal isn't played from 21st on back day. It makes, like, no sense. I just can't. I can't see it. I just don't see it. I don't know. That's my opinion. Anybody got any questions or anything you want me to specifically look at before we kind of, like, start goofing around and, like, making jokes and going on rants or whatever? Um, oh, I didn't even, as I'm waiting. So, like, yeah, like, yet again, this is the playlist. I'll put it in the comments in this video once it's posted. But I have now added the live show from yesterday, since I'm very, very happy with that presentation, how everything went. I mean, I walked through everything. Same thing here. Like, I've walked you through my entire thought process, all my word vomit, all how I would mentally correlate everybody. Like, I hand build every single line for these races, and I've done that whenever I started playing, I guess, since I was 18, 25 now, turn 26 next month. Like, I have always done this the exact same way. Would you cap Ham? I would not play Ham. Okay, if we're talking about fades today, not playing Hamlin. Okay. Now, okay, great question, Kyle. So, like, who am I fading? Who am I not playing? I'm not playing Blaney, Kozlowski, Hamlin. Those are my actual fades. They're 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They're going to carry ownership. I'm personally not playing them. So, like, great question there, because I'm not playing these 3 guys. This is ownership I don't want to be attached to. This is not even risky isn't the right term, but I have just no interest in here. If you look at how I build, yet again, check out this 5 hours, talks you through everything, answers every question you would have on how I approach stuff. I have no interest in these 3 guys. So I will not have any Blaney, any Brad, any Hamlin. Uh, I don't believe that those guys are good chalk. I think, and yet again, capping at 30, 30, 30, and 30 for these 4 guys. Past that, I want to have anywhere from 50, 55, 60, 65% of everybody else, from probably Chase Briscoe on back. That's how I'm approaching it. And on FanDuel as well. FanDuel, I'm much more open to um, having a little bit more Larson, Stenhouse, Chastain, LaJoy, but because like I think it's much easier for them to work on FanDuel, but FanDuel has much more condensed ownership on the good guys in the back. So like I think that, and then I like, oh well, maybe I just need to like play less of them. So my approach is still the same on both sides today. I'm not playing anybody like on FanDuel. I'm probably not playing anybody from 25th on up. That's where I'm at. Let's see. The rain should they're going to start today. They should race today. I don't foresee them not racing today. Let's see what else. I think personally speaking, I am very curious about the $44 entry today. I am probably going to do that as well. So clearly, I'm doing 20 lines and everything. Also, I'm about to lose access to like the $4. I had somebody DM me like, "Why are you still in the 4? Like, why are you playing? Don't worry, DraftKings is going to probably remove me soon. I'm getting close to the cutoff there, but I'm very very interested in playing the 44 today and seeing how that goes because I could very much afford to burn that if it doesn't work out. So that's actually what I'm most interested in today and seeing how it plays out. Is that 44? I don't think we're gonna have another 15. It was very weird yesterday. Like I didn't enter the fucking other 10 for the Xfinity series because it took forever to go up. The main filled, and then it was like 50 minutes before the other 10 like went up. And at that point, I was like doing other things, and like I just didn't enter the other 10. I don't think we're gonna have another contest open for the main. That's either $15 or $10 a day. We might get another 4, but I don't know how big they're gonna be. It's very weird that DK Sportsbook is offering a bonus today for Talladega. Not weird, but like very very interesting. Very interesting one. Like they're offering the boost. Like I'm not even a bettor. Like I don't give a shit on what somebody's like to win odds are, but it's so weird that like they cut all the lines down and then they're like offering a boosts. I don't know. So with that, I think DK is very much pushing their sports betting stuff clearly, and so I don't know if we get a decent secondary GPP contest. That's why I'm like, man, I think I'm going to enter the 44 today with my 20 lines. I mean, I think that's really about it, man. I don't think I really have much more to say. If you do have any questions and you're in the Discord, I'll be happy to answer anything. You can DM me on Twitter or tweet at me on Twitter, but typically that is like I'll respond, but that's typically a lower priority. What else? I don't know. I think that's mainly it. I don't see anything else to really talk about. So yeah, best of luck, guys. I guess I'll talk to you next week for the Dover preview. And let's root for Rex. Like this slate, so many drivers here work in a race that goes green as well. What about I don't play prize picks. I don't play prize picks, and I don't prop bet. I mean, I can't do it in here in Texas, but I'm horrendous at it. I have very much removed myself from giving any advice on that type of stuff because I'm not that guy, pal. There are certainly there's way other people way better at prop betting and specifically NASCAR props than I am. Yeah, I think that's mainly it. So I will see you guys later, and best of luck, and yeah, see you guys for Dover.